The day Mrs. Beatrice Lawson destroyed the woman her son loved, she believed she had won. She stood in her mansion, holding a glass of wine, watching her son collapse into heartbreak, and felt victorious. The poor girl was finally gone. No more wedding. No more shame. No more embarrassment to the Lawson name. But what Beatrice didn't know was that the woman she had just destroyed was carrying a secret so powerful it would change her son's life forever. And years later, when the truth finally came out, Beatrice would fall to her knees begging for forgiveness, but by then, life had already written its own cruel lesson. Everyone in town knew Beatrice Lawson. She was wealthy, feared, and respected. People called her the Iron Woman because she never showed weakness and never lost control. She built a business empire from nothing after her husband died, and every sacrifice she made was for one person, her only son, Daniel Lawson. Daniel was her pride, her greatest achievement, and in Beatrice's mind, the future of the Lawson legacy. She had spent years protecting him, shaping him, and planning every detail of his future. That included one important rule: the woman Daniel married had to be worthy of carrying the Lawson name. Then Daniel met Amara. Everything changed. Amara wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. She worked as a nurse in a modest clinic and lived a simple life. She had no family wealth, no connections, and no influence. But she had something money could never buy: kindness. Daniel fell deeply in love with her. For the first time in years, he looked genuinely happy. He laughed more. Smiled more. Dreamed more. But Beatrice hated everything about Amara from the moment they met. She saw Amara as a threat. In her eyes, Amara was a poor girl with pretty words and dangerous intentions. One evening during dinner, Daniel announced he wanted to marry Amara. The entire room went silent. Beatrice slowly placed her fork down and stared at her son. Then she coldly asked if he had lost his mind. Daniel calmly told his mother that he loved Amara and intended to build a life with her. Beatrice laughed, a cold, mocking laugh that made the air heavy. She told him love was temporary but status was permanent. Daniel's expression hardened. He looked directly at his mother and said something no one had ever dared to say to her. He said, "You built an empire, Mother. But you forgot how to build a home." The words hit like a slap. Beatrice's face turned cold. That was the moment she decided Amara had to go. At first, she tried controlling Daniel through words. When that failed, she turned to manipulation. Quietly, she hired a private investigator to dig into Amara's life. But there was a problem. Amara was clean. No scandals. No secrets. No dirt. That infuriated Beatrice. So if she couldn't find dirt, she would create it. Within weeks, ugly rumors spread through town like wildfire. People whispered that Amara had multiple men funding her lifestyle. Others claimed she had a dark past she was hiding. Amara's peaceful life turned into a nightmare overnight. At work, co-workers whispered behind her back. Patients looked at her differently. Even neighbors stopped greeting her. She felt her world collapsing without understanding why. Then Beatrice delivered the final strike. Daniel received anonymous photos late one evening. The pictures showed Amara entering a hotel room with another man. The images looked devastating. The timing was perfect. The angle was convincing. It looked like undeniable betrayal. Daniel's heart shattered. That night, he confronted Amara. She stared at the photos in horror before immediately explaining that the man was the husband of a patient whose wife was fighting for her life in intensive care. She had only helped him carry medical files. She begged Daniel to trust her. She cried and reminded him of everything they had built together. But doubt had already entered his heart. And doubt is poison. It only grows. Daniel's silence broke Amara in ways words never could. She realized something devastating in that moment. The man she loved no longer fully trusted her. Days later, heartbroken and emotionally exhausted, Amara disappeared. No goodbye. No explanation. She simply vanished. Daniel searched desperately for weeks. He called everyone. Drove across cities. Checked every possible lead. Nothing. Amara was gone. And Beatrice watched quietly, believing she had won. But victory never came. Instead, Daniel slowly fell apart. The happy, driven man Beatrice knew disappeared. He stopped caring about work. He isolated himself. He barely slept. He barely spoke. The mansion became painfully silent. Months passed. Then years. Daniel never moved on. He never loved another woman. One night, Beatrice found him alone in his study staring at a photo of Amara. Without looking at her, he said, "Are you happy now?" Beatrice froze. Daniel's voice was hollow and lifeless. He told her she got exactly what she wanted. Amara was gone. Then he said the words that shattered her. "You didn't just destroy her, Mother. You destroyed me too." For the first time in her life, Beatrice felt powerless. Guilt consumed her. She could no longer ignore what she had done. So she made a decision she never imagined making. She would find Amara and fix this. It took months, but eventually Beatrice found her living in a small rural town far away. Amara was working in a small health center, living quietly. But the moment Beatrice saw her, she noticed something shocking. A little girl stood beside Amara, holding her hand. The child looked around 6 years old. Beatrice's breath caught instantly. The little girl had Daniel's eyes. Her heart nearly stopped. Amara saw Beatrice and her face turned cold. She asked what she wanted. Beatrice's voice trembled as she stared at the child. Amara understood immediately. The silence between them felt unbearable. Then Amara revealed the truth. Right before leaving years ago, she discovered she was pregnant. She wanted to tell Daniel. She planned to tell him everything. But after the lies, humiliation, and betrayal, she no longer believed Daniel trusted her enough to believe the truth. So she left and raised their daughter alone. The words hit Beatrice like a truck. Her son had a daughter. A daughter he had never known existed. But Amara wasn't done. Then came the twist Beatrice never expected. Amara revealed something even worse. The hotel photos were fake, but she had discovered who staged them before leaving. It wasn't just Beatrice. Daniel's cousin Victor had helped plan everything. Victor wanted Daniel emotionally broken so he could secretly gain control of major shares in the family business. Beatrice felt sick. Her own greed had opened the door for a snake inside the family. While she was busy destroying Amara, Victor had been destroying Daniel's future too. For the first time in decades, Beatrice broke. She collapsed to her knees and cried uncontrollably. The Iron Woman was gone. All that remained was a broken mother drowning in regret. Through tears, she begged Amara for forgiveness. Amara looked at her silently. Years of pain sat between them. Finally, she spoke softly. She said she forgave Beatrice long ago, not because Beatrice deserved it, but because carrying hatred had become too heavy. Her words pierced straight through Beatrice's soul. 1 week later, Amara agreed to return. But what happened next changed everything forever. Daniel opened his front door and froze. Amara stood there. Beside her stood a little girl. Time stopped. Daniel looked at Amara, then at the child. His hands trembled. Amara fought back tears as she whispered, "Daniel, meet your daughter." Daniel completely froze. Tears filled his eyes instantly. The little girl looked up at him and softly asked, "Are you my daddy?" That single question broke him. Daniel dropped to his knees and burst into tears as he pulled his daughter into his arms. Years of pain, grief, and heartbreak exploded all at once. Behind them, Beatrice stood silently, crying harder than anyone. But one final truth remained. Daniel soon learned about Victor's betrayal. Furious, he launched an investigation and uncovered years of financial manipulation. Victor had stolen millions from the family business while pretending loyalty. Within months, Victor lost everything. He was arrested, publicly disgraced, and abandoned by everyone he once manipulated. In the end, justice came for everyone. Beatrice spent years believing power meant control. Life taught her otherwise. Love cannot be controlled. It can only be protected. Healing took time. Trust was rebuilt slowly. Pain did not disappear overnight. But little by little, the family began to heal. Beatrice changed in ways no one expected. She became softer, kinder, and more humble. She finally understood the truth. Pride destroys. Wickedness poisons. Hatred consumes. But love restores. Patience heals. And forgiveness has the power to rebuild even the most broken hearts. Because in the end, destiny always has the final say.